All right, well, shifting gears, last week, the US return to office rates reached their highest level since the start of the pandemic. We saw that average office use was 47.5% of early 2020 levels. That's according to Castle Systems, which tracks the security swipes into corporate buildings. Now, commuter levels in the New York area also reached all-time highs since the pandemic. We're also taking a look at over 200,000 people who rode the Long Island Railroad last Wednesday, and nearly 175,000 people took the Metro North Railroad. Now, of course, despite those positive signs, U.S. office vacancy stands at 12.4%, and that's the highest it's been in the pandemic. So, Seana, obviously we see a lot of people coming back to work, but then you also have these vacancies as well, really trying to understand what's happening with these return to office rates.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic here at play. Certainly, I think for people, we come into the office obviously 5 days a week. So you did notice right after Labor Day that more and more people were commuting with you, whether it was on the train or on the bus or simply in this subway system. Although we do have a long ways to go. When you take a look at those occupancy levels like you just referenced, they're slightly below 50%. So yes, more people are in the offices than they were maybe 3 to 6 months ago. But Dave, we have a long ways to go if we ever get back to those office occupancy levels pre-pandemic. I'm not so sure we're going to get back to that level, but it will be interesting to see just how close we come.
Yeah, I don't think it's even an if at this point. I think the question is, how close do we get? We'll never get near 100%. My guess is that just talking to developers and talking to agents, I think they'll get 60, 70% of pre-pandemic, and that's going to be the new norm. So what do you do with that then? Real estate will be an interesting question. I think with cities like New York City, Mayor Eric Adams would like some way to find to convert some of that office space into housing, into rentals, into affordable housing to solve that rental crisis that's going on. That's not an easy fix. It's not an easy conversion. But it is interesting. We focus so much on New York. The biggest increase was in Houston, Texas, which had seen a lot of plateauing. They saw a 10% increase in Houston. Anecdotally, I have a town that commutes entirely to New York City. It spiked right away after Labor Day and immediately dropped back off considerably. It was a quick surge and then seemed to fall off.
Yeah, and it's also going to be interesting to see how employers are able to get their employees back to the office. Because, yes, maybe some people are willing to come in 1 or 2 days a week. There's a lot of people that don't want to come back in more than that, go back to 4 to 5 days a week, and how exactly that's going to look to. And of course, we've heard at least some of the bigger players in the financial sector take a harder line when it comes to bringing their employees back and when the timeline that they're hoping to do so. Some tech giants, Tesla, also weighing in, saying that they want their employees back into the office. So maybe we are progressing towards a 60 to 70%. Dave, I do agree with you. We're never going to get back to that 100% levels that we saw pre-pandemic. We are far ways off.